which is the first global conference on sustainable blue economy, will include side events such as research, business, and private sector forum. More than 60 exhibitors will attend the conference and are harnessing the potential of water bodies in order to improve lives. Launching the pre-conference summit in Mombasa yesterday, President Uhuru Kenyatta said the conference will give Kenya a chance to showcase its abilities to exploit resources of the blue economy. He added that the launch and the commissioning are the fulfillment of his promise to recover Kenya's lost dream in protecting its vast resource potential in its ocean waters. Wandabu Wanyama for Y254 Business News.
So as I mentioned earlier, the blue economy is a sustainable use of ocean resources for economic growth, improved livelihoods and jobs, and ocean ecosystem health. The blue economy encompasses of many activities, including fishing, maritime transport, waste management, renewable energy, just to mention a few. So to see us through this discussion tonight is Calvin Jodisi. It's nice to host you again.
Nice. Thank you very much.
You're so much welcome to the program tonight.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Why blue economy now? What has it triggered this global shift just now?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Kenya right now, I mean, we have, I think we take the biggest, almost the biggest part of, the Indian Ocean, and we have also obviously so many, other water bodies as well, because if you're looking at the blue economy, we're actually not only looking at the ocean, but actually we're looking at the different, even different water bodies, so including lakes, including streams, including rivers as well, and all that. And so we have a lot of that. And so I think there's been a lot of discussion now on how can we benefit or how can we maximize on, on the different oceanic water, the oceanic water body that we have, and even different other water bodies as well. So I think that is what has really triggered. And as you can see, Kenya is not really doing well when it comes to economical benefit of, the blue economy. Yeah.
What activities are involved in this particular sector?
So in the blue economy, I mean, there's several activities involved, and just what you mentioned, and fishing is very key, and that's maritime. And if you look at, I mean, Kenya, we're actually very big also in fishing, although we've not really utilized that. And recently, the president, when he was going to launch the coast the coast maritime guide, and he's looking at how can we protect our water bodies in the territory and maximize on the available opportunity in terms of even fishing and all that, because we've been having a lot of cases on illegal fishing or illegal entry to our water bodies. So I think that is one particular key, because we still, as a country, we actually not even exporting most of our fishes. If you look at countries like Ghana that export very, very huge amount of fish to the EU, because the EU is one of the biggest importer of fish. So, and if you look at other countries, well, they're doing very, very well. So we haven't actually maximized that. And if you look at right now the Kenyan statistic in terms of GDP, our blue economy only contribute to 2.5%, which is very, very little. And we're looking at through this conversation and through having all these delegates coming from across the world, over 170 countries, and having a lot of interest in our water bodies, we're actually going to increase that. Probably we're looking at increasing that by 10% in the next, probably by 2030. We increase our the GDP through the blue economy by 10%.
Calvin, do you feel like the youth of this nation are going to embrace the blue economy positively? And if they do, of what importance is it to them?
Yeah, I think, Yvonne, the blue economy is very, very important to the Kenyan youth. And the importance will not be at a magnitude of probably the ocean level or something like that. But I think one of the things that we've not been able to maximize on as young people is what you call ecotourism. So ecotourism is basically looking at how can we promote tourism on our water bodies and our streams. How can we promote tourism in, for example, let's say Lake Naivasha, let's say Lake Victoria, and other lakes as well. And also we're looking at opportunity in terms of reservations, like we need to I mean like conservation, so we need to come up with activities, and this is where actually youth can play a very big role in terms of conserving, you know, the different water catchment areas, the different lakes that we have, and creating and actually coming up with activities that actually could attract tourists. So I think that is one of our key points that we could learn about that, and also even investing in fishing. If young people can come together and invest very well in fishing, then they can actually be able to achieve that.
You've spoken about youth engaging in other activities, and aside from fishing, what other opportunities can they engage themselves in?
I mean, we have so many opportunities, including what I've said, tourism, because I mean, ecotourism is very big, and I know it's not exploited in Kenya as much. We don't have, we don't have people, we don't have a lot of opportunities in terms of even the lakes and all that, because you find like if you go to Lake Victoria, you find that right now there's still a lot of water hyacinth in that lake, covering that lake as well. So if we can be able to do very good conservation of those different lakes and come up with probably maybe resorts in close to those different lakes, and come up with very tour attracting activities, including even setting up even museums in those different for us to be able to preserve our history, and that will mean that we have to account on some of the extinct species, and people want to know history, so I think that's somewhere that actually young people can be able to explore.
We as a nation, do you feel like this country is able to sustain the ambitions with regards to the blue economy and the targets that have been set so far?
Yeah, I mean, we can. Yeah, I mean, that is something that we can be able to achieve. I mean, if you, I mean, when the president was in Coast a few days ago, and they talked about the potentiality that we have, especially through the coastlines as well. And when we talk about blue economy, we're looking even into tourism, because I mean, Kenya has some of the best beaches in the world, and if you look at even in the travel guide, the travel advisory, we actually was one of the best, so how are we going even to reserve our beaches? How are we going to clean our beaches? Because if you look at one of the biggest threats to our water bodies, including mainly ocean, is the human activity. There's so much plastic being thrown in the ocean, and that actually killing even our own the maritime life in there. So I think Kenya has a lot of work to do, but we can be able to achieve that, and even that will increase even the number of tourists that actually come to Kenya as well.
Calvin, let's talk about the government support. Do you feel like the government has fully supported young people of this nation to engage into these activities, the blue economy activities?
I think so. I mean, I can't say that the government has no support. What I can say is that the government haven't created a lot of awareness, and I think this conference is going to actually define that particular framework on how we can create more awareness. I'm very sure for the first time, very many people probably, if you were to do a random question on the street and ask, what is blue economy? Probably most people don't even understand. They will actually maybe say it's something blue, in color or something like that. So which means that even most young people don't know what blue economy is, and probably they don't really understand what blue economy. They understand only that this is tourism. If you tell them tourism, and then they understand maybe the terms, things like beaches. They understand the terms like ocean. But I think what the government has not done a lot, which I think should be done after this conference, is create awareness. And once they create awareness, they're actually going to be a lot of opportunity, because once you create awareness, then somebody will be like, oh my God, so there's actually something that I can be able to gain from this particular path. So I think that's what the government need to do. But I trust the government under the leadership of Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy and other leadership, that actually they're going to do that.
Do you feel like this is the future of this country? Would you say this platform is the future of this country?
I mean, I can't say it's the future, because our country has a lot of diverse resources. But one thing I can say is that this is actually a very great potential that has not been fully exploited. So we still have a lot of opportunities, still a lot of chances that actually we can be able to explore and even make, as our country, we it can really help in terms of uplifting our GDP, and obviously that's going to improve the standard of living, not only with the people in the coastal, for example, the coastal region, but actually even the countrywide. Because and I think something that we have not probably say is that the government also is looking at how can they be able to expand some of its services. So we're working on the Lamu port. Right now, the government is working on the Lamu port so that they can be able to diversify, because right now we only depend on Mombasa port, So we're working on the Lamu port. We're also working on the dry port in Naivasha, which is, I think it's the second. It's going to be starting very soon. And so those are some of the opportunities that are going to help in terms of ease flows of cargoes and all that, and even that's going to attract more income coming to the country, because people will have several options that they can be able to transport their goods.
So finally, as we wind up, your final words to someone out there, maybe they want to engage themselves with this conference.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I think so today I just checked the online platform where the registration is taking place, but I think the registration is still on. So if you'd like to attend, you just Google Blue Economy Conference, you're going to get the option there. And I think you can actually still register for accreditation, because you have to register online so that they have your details, and then so that it can be accredited. And then obviously as young people, you can look at because we have there's several side events going on at the same time. You can actually look at some of the side events that you might be interested in, and probably get a chance to learn. And this conference is free. It is open to everybody, and I think it's high time that young people take that opportunity to be able to interact with even other young people coming from different parts of the world, and much more, even learn more about the blue economy and the opportunity that it has.
Thank you so much, Calvin, for
Thanks so
showing
much.
up. It's
Thank you
been
so
a
much, Yvonne.
pleasure.
I really appreciate it.